Falcon fans, and of course, Uncle Steve. You already
And I'm
know what it
still
is. You already
jamming
know
to
what
the
to do. What's up,
I'm jamming
Steve?
to the theme music.
See what I told you, man. Every time we go live, you're supposed to be doing something, man. You did the Kirk Cousins dance last year. Steve got in here one time. He's already jamming to the theme music. Come
Man,
on, Steve, man.
I was in the background trying to get a new dance together, man. But I'm working on it, Jack. I'm working on it. You know,
Hey,
it takes
man.
time to perfect a dance that people will love and follow. Okay,
Hey,
but
look,
I'm not
man.
Uncle Steve. I'm not talented like that. You know what I
Look,
mean?
we ain't
So.
trying to do the Soul Train line or anything, T. Well, but when that music start playing, I need you to move them hands and them arms a little bit, man. Falcon fans, hit
When
that
in
like, share,
doubt,
and
just do the
subscribe button.
Carlton.
Ah,
Let's go back to the
it's
old
not
school rules, T. Well, when in
unusual to
doubt.
be loved by anyone. Oh man, wow.
One
Okay.
time for the fan, Apple Podcast, Spotify Podcast, Amazon Podcast, so much more. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, all the other stuff. Big shout out to everybody in the chat. Big shout out to all the Falcon fans checking in. We got a special guest today talking Falcons football. First time here on the show. We got to give a big shout out to Uncle Steve's Lounge in the building. Shout out to you, Uncle Steve, for taking the time out of your day, sir, to come chop it up with us over here on One Time for the Fans. So we have to ask you, my brother, we have to ask you, how are you doing today? And of course, as a Falcon fan, man, how is everything going in your Falcon universe, my brother?
All right. Me personally, I'm doing well. And again, thank you for the Vine. I appreciate you guys. Obviously, from afar, always loved you all and Carrie and what you all bring to the Falcon fandom and everything. So I just want to get that out the way. I am doing well. In my Falcons fandom, I think I'm pretty secure. I did not jump off the bridge like many people did off week 3. I think I'm here. I've always been here, and I feel like we are primed to make this run that everybody is talking about, and it starts on Monday night.
Hey, it really does start on Monday night. We got our boy T. Will, former ATL Sports, One Time for the Fan. T. Will, we just talked 24 hours ago. Now we back on the podcast talking Falcons football again. So how are you doing? Because we know we know how you were doing on Sunday. How you doing today on this Monday evening, my brother?
Man, let me tell you something. I'm so excited to have Uncle Steve here. Uncle Steve is unique in that he blends his love of music, his ability to entertain us and sing and regale us with all that. Very down to earth. Love his shows. Watch his show every Sunday I can. And I'm just super excited to do this interview, man. Very, very talented brother. I think he and Lo share that. And if you've never seen Uncle Steve's show, you're letting some of the best in life go by. It is a must watch every week. And when Lo has Uncle Steve on his show, or when Uncle Steve has Lo on his show, it's must see entertainment. It really is. So I am humbled, Uncle Steve, to have you on the show. I'm super excited. And if you don't mind, I know we don't have a lot of time. I got a question for you because I've been wanting to have you on the show for the better part of, I don't know, ever since we've been in the business.
You can get the question in, but I gotta say to you, Will, you put Uncle Steve on the spot. This is an interview. Is he getting ready to work with One Time for the Fan?
No, it's not an interview. It's just questions that I wanted to know.
To start grilling me about what's going on.
No. It's just questions that I wanted to know because he's great at what he does, and he's unique. I don't know a lot of Uncle Steves that are content creators that are, you know what I mean. I just don't. So I have questions I have to ask him.
There's only one Uncle Steve, but go ahead.
I gotta do it. Uncle Steve, how did you get the idea for Uncle Steve's Lounge? When you first started, did you integrate music into it? Just kind of describe that for us. Because again, I don't know of another show like yours, which is why so many people love it.
I've really been doing this for quite a while. I've been doing most of it on Facebook, probably right around 2015, 16, back when I would have one person that I would talk to, and they would just talk back. And then as time went on, I had the opportunity to hook up with Tidy with Atlanta Bird Gang, and he allowed me the platform to go on there and kind of be able to expand what I was doing. The Uncle Steve part came, quite honestly. I have two of the greatest nieces. I have a third niece too, but I not as much in contact with her. And everybody start calling me Uncle Steve at church because they would hear my niece say Uncle Steve. And then now, even now, being in my church as one of the members, you always hear I have another title, but everybody knows my title as Uncle Steve, and I just have embraced that. And since then, I've carried it into the platform that I have now. Just have fun. What you see is what you get, as far as I'm concerned. And yeah.
Okay. Well, Jack, I had to ask. Okay, if you haven't guessed, I am a big fan. I do not miss this man's show, He and Low. So you got to excuse the fanboy in me, but I wanted to know, Jack. I wanted to know. All right, now we can get to the Falcons. Sorry.
Well, that's the good thing about it with having Uncle Steve here, because for fans that have questions in the chat, go ahead and drop them in the chat. For content creator, super producer, and just everything when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons fan base, Uncle Steve's Lounge. Now, Big Low has a question for you too, Uncle Steve.
However, I do stand at not answering his questions unless I'm being compensated.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love
fans,
it.
let me tell you something. Y'all know the beef between me and Country on the golf course, but there seems like to be a little beef going on between Uncle Steve and Country too, as well, behind the scenes. Nah, we're just playing with you guys. But Country does want to know. Okay. He said, make sure to ask Uncle Steve, how's he doing with those background vocals for his album? Because the album's supposed to be dropping sometime soon, and he just needs to know about these background vocals, Uncle Steve. Please, for the chat, for everybody here listening, watching, tell Big Country what's going on with these background vocals, my brother.
Well, it's a pretty clear and cut story. Low is what we call like the Ronnie DeVoe of groups, and I happen to be more of the Bobby Brownish type, and to donate my vocals to his project is just kind of what I do. It's some of my servant kind of attitude that I have, and being one to give to the needy, I feel like it's the least I can do, man. It really is. So we support those less talented than us, and we want to prop them up. So as far as Mr. Country is concerned, that's my stance on that, Jack.
Falcon fans, look, I can tell y'all about Country on the golf course, but Uncle Steve's telling y'all about country in the music industry. So that's what y'all hearing right there on that side. Now, I don't know if Country gonna win a Grammy coming up, or if he's gonna be nominated, but we might have to give credit to Uncle Steve for this upcoming album, because Country is asking about the background vocals, and sometimes the songwriter doesn't get the love. It's the person singing the song. But Uncle Steve is here talking Falcons football with us, and he's also talking, a little trash talk with some of the other content creators. But T-Will, last night we did talk a little bit about the Atlanta Falcons, or damn near we talked pretty much the whole show about the Atlanta Falcons. But the chat was live, and the chat was lit, and I'm sure right now fans got questions and comments for Uncle Steve too as well. So we'll do our best to get those questions and comments into as well. Let's hear on One Time for the Fan have some stuff to talk to Uncle Steve about. And Steve, because you are here, man, we do have to ask you, man, just how long have you been an Atlanta Falcons fan? And just, tell the people about Uncle Steve and this Falcons Nation, because there's some people that do not know Uncle Steve, but tonight they're going to find out who Uncle Steve is. The floor is yours, brother.
Well, back in the mid 70s and my earliest recollection, back in Fulton County Stadium, my father was a huge Atlanta Falcons fan. God bless him. And he used to take myself and my brother to the games. Now, there were many games that I don't remember as much. The one that I remember of my first recollection was right around 77, 78, and the season opening game against Earl Campbell. He had just been drafted from Texas, and he on the second play of the game, took a swing pass and went 80 yards. Now, y'all remember Earl Campbell was like 250, 260 wet. And that big guy rumbled down the field. We did win the game, but that's kind of one of the memories that I have. So if you really take it back, man, I mean, you're talking about at least close to 50 years of rooting for these guys. I haven't cried in life a lot. And I remember my first boo-hoo non-punishment crying
81.
was when Atlanta lost to the Dallas Cowboys.
Drew
That
Pearson.
home game we had, Drew Pearson touchdown in the comeback. So I'm emotionally invested in the Falcons, and I just have been that way ever since. That's why it's so easy to do this. It's almost like a labor of love to do these things. That's why I can't get too high and too low with them, because unfortunately, if you've been on this roller coaster with me for a long time, like a lot of you have, you just gotta ride, man. Just gotta ride and see what happens.
Right. T. Will, we've talked about, the Atlanta Falcons back during those times too as well. And of course the Falcons going into the 80s and the 90s, and sometimes things that I can't remember too as well. I'm an 85 baby. So, it's always good to have T. Will here with the knowledge and the information to tell us about, the Falcons from before when I was born too as well. And of course for you, Uncle Steve, man, you've been around this Falcons team for a while. So you did see the ups and downs of this team. And that's why we respect you here on the channel. Because when you talk to your fan base, when you talk to the people that show up to Uncle Steve's Lounge podcast, whether they're there from day one or it's their first time tuning in, you keep it 100% real with the Falcon fans. And that's why we just so glad that you can take the time out of your day to join us. T. Will, you remember those Earl Campbell days? And of course, like you mentioned, you were shaking your head about the Dallas Cowboys game too as well. T. Will, what do you remember about that? You want to piggyback off what Uncle Steve is saying there? Because
Sure.
you smiling and you're feeling good about it. I know you want to go back to that time too now, brother.
Well, let me tell you something. Earl Campbell was a poetic runner because although he was huge, okay, there are two things that jump out to me right away about Earl Campbell. Earl Campbell, from what I can recall, was the first guy that I saw. Okay, he's got the first down. It's 3rd and 5. He's run for 7. He could go out of bounds. Oh, no, he's not going out of bounds. No, he's going to hit 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and drag a 5th person. And then you're going to get him down 20 yards later. Earl Campbell had this poetic rhythm to his running style. And once he got going, that was a Mack truck, man.
So would you say Earl Campbell is today's like Derrick Henry in a way, kind of in a way?
No, I would say Derrick Henry would want to be Earl Campbell. And no disrespect to Derrick, no disrespect to him, okay? But Earl Campbell, in my opinion, does not get the love that he should, because he was truly one of the greats. Earl Campbell was huge. He obviously could run through people, but he was fast. And once that big fella got going, it was impossible to stop him. Now, I remember the game he's talking about. And let me tell you something. Oh, my God. It was, I'm a Falcons fan, but it's, you're watching greatness, okay, when it comes to Earl Campbell. In regards to the Cowboys, that broke my heart too, Uncle Steve. I cried real tears. That was the first time the Falcons made the playoff. I remember that was Steve Bartkowski, Wallace Francis, Alfred Jenkins. Just a great, great team. And God dang it, the Falcons were up by 17 points, Jack. And the Cowboys and Drew Pearson, who I'm still pissed with to this day, ended up coming back and beating us. And
this stuff's been going on for a while with the Falcons having the lead and then all that.
And that was my point, Jack, the other night when I said, when people start to make these comments about the Falcons have to prove them wrong. Okay. I'm pretty sure Uncle Steve is the same way. I'm at the point, I've started watching the Falcons about 75, 76. Uncle Steve and I are right along together. But you get to the point, you don't care what people say. You don't, because at the end of the day, Falcons got to prove that wrong. When the Falcons win the Super Bowl, all this talk will stop.
So
All
T
the
Will,
time.
am I going back in time where you're probably in the stands next to Uncle Steve? Can you remember those times when you were in the stadium on row one with Uncle Steve? Because he's a row one type of guy, So I just want to find out. If we're going back to those Falcon days, T Will, and you was a small jit too as well. So you're probably looking over like, who's that guy over there yelling at the Falcons? Oh, he
Well,
look just like me. Oh, wait a
my
minute, that's Uncle Steve. You want to go back into the future here, T Will, or back into the
well,
past? Or how you want to do
I,
this? Get in the
I
time
didn't
machine.
go to my first Falcons game until I was probably my first year in college.
Okay.
So my dad did not. He loved the Falcons, but my dad was more a Braves fan. Now my dad's approach was, son, and I remember him telling me, you support all of your Atlanta teams. This is a community in which we live, and we don't support anybody other than Atlanta teams in this house. That's why I'm such a big Atlanta fan to this day, because that's what he said. Look, you live in this community, you support this community. If whatever team they have, that's the one you support. And that's what we did. But he didn't really go to, I don't know that he ever went to a Falcons game. Now, we went to Braves games and we went to Hawks games, but I went with my best friend first year in college to a Falcons game in the Georgia Dome. And it was a great experience. But, like I say, I grew up watching the Falcons, which is kind of why, and I agree with Uncle Steve, you got to be able to roll with the punches, man. If you invest, you gotta know what's right for you, right? Because you will get your heart broken. And so when you've done this long enough, you kind of just accept that I'm a fan with them no matter what, right? So it's not about my team winning the Super Bowl just to win a Super Bowl. It's about them winning the Super Bowl because they're my team. And Uncle Steve and I have been with them for so long. And we've had so many ups and downs that when they finally do cross that threshold into the burning sands, it'll be one of the greatest moments in a lifetime. Because, and Uncle Steve, you can kind of jump in on this. For me, it won't just be for us, but it'll be for the Steve Bartkowskis, the William Andrews, the Bobby Butlers, the Scott Cases. I think in that moment, everybody who's ever donned a Falcons jersey will be together in that. And maybe that's a little sensational, but that's how I feel. Uncle Steve, how do you feel about that? Like at that magical moment in time,
Uncle Steve,
when the clock strikes zero and the Falcons do win a Super Bowl, do you feel that all Falcons will kind of celebrate in that, revel in that moment? Give me your thoughts on that.
I think we're such a different generation now. I think we're instant gratification type deal. It's easier for us to wax poetic about the past and the history and our names that you just brought up that, just make me shiver inside, because as a child or a young man growing up, those were our idols as opposed to the young men now looking up to the Justin Jeffersons, the Patrick Mahomes and things of that nature. The one thing that I will say, when you were talking about the Dallas loss, I'll argue with anyone who's had some history. I believe that 1980 team, and I'll stand on this, is the best, most talented Atlanta Falcons team we ever had. Yes, even better than both Super Bowl teams that we had in Atlanta.
Without a doubt.
I think, and this is probably going to be unpopular, that Dallas loss to me probably helped my feelings for 28-3. Because while I'm not saying that wasn't a huge blow,
right,
I can say, here we go again.
Yeah.
And not that I loved it, but I was always kind of ready for that temperament. I'm not trying to tell you I was like, oh, well, we just lost. But I am saying it was easier to deal with. So, to be a Falcons fan, it takes a lot. But I tell you, folks, I want to, that's why I want to celebrate every win, every time. This Washington game, I saw too many people like, but you got to stay consistent. They're right. But celebrate the win.
Agreed.
We could be the Jets. We could be the
We've been the Jets.
Yeah,
We've
well,
been
well,
the
that's
Jets.
what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So I don't mind the critique. Shoot, we all do it. We
Mhm.
all worry about it. But
Mhm.
understand, we're 2-2. We have a pretty after this next primetime schedule. There really isn't a game we shouldn't be competitive in. So
Mhm.
I'm looking forward to seeing what we do off this by starting with Monday, Jack. I really do. Jack and T Will. I really feel like it's going to be something to look forward to.
Well, I'm on the same page with you, Uncle Steve, and of course T. Will. Even for my time of being a Falcon fan, I've been through the highs and lows too as well. A lot of fans in this chat can agree. We do want that Super Bowl. We do want to reach that highest level of success when it comes to the NFL with some of these, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Eagles, what they're doing, and the Steelers, what they did in the past, and so on. I want to have our time, and there was opportunities where the Falcons could have had their time, but sure enough. It just didn't happen. But for fans that are here in the chat, you guys are hearing it from Uncle Steve and T Will that are telling y'all Falcons from the 78, 79, 80. Like this is real Falcons history right here. And this is so cool because a lot of fans are so focused on the now, they forget about the past. And T Will, you are right. When we do win a Super Bowl, this is for all the fans who've been a part of this for so many years because you guys remember that Denver Bronco game a long time ago with Eugene Robinson and talking to the such and such, the night before the game and all this other stuff, and of course going down to Houston a couple years ago to play the Patriots and all this. We was almost there a couple of times where we could have had our moment of success, but I do believe the Falcons will steer the ship the right way. And of course, with this team right now, it's looking like at 2-2 that we do have a franchise quarterback. We have a franchise running back. We have a guy that fans can really sit behind and know that we can not only ignite this fan base, but help the team on the field look into the stands and say, man, this is what the fans want. This is what we're giving them right now. And T-Way, you're right. We were the Jets at one point. We were the Browns at one point, but we got to get away from that. Right? It's time to get back to the playoffs and make things happen. And Uncle Steve, you mentioned celebrating the win over the Commanders because that is a big win. That's a team that we haven't beaten in the past couple years. Same like the Vikings. We've had trouble with them. And some of those players that's on the Vikings team was on the team last year when they stumped us up out there in Minnesota. Some of those players that's on the Commanders team was on the team last year when they beat us and the year before that too as well. So Uncle Steve, we're 2-2 right now. It's a big game coming up against the Buffalo Bills, but this is the first quarter of the season pretty much in the books for the Falcons. Now we have to ask you, Uncle Steve, what are your thoughts about the Falcons right now? You mentioned the ups and downs of the team in the past, but what are the ups and downs right now of the Falcons, the positives and the negatives that Uncle Steve sees on Uncle Steve's Lounge? And of course, if you have to use, a song or two, to show the vocals, we got time, we got time for Uncle Steve saying that.
Oh, wow.
But if you have to mention Desmond Ridder, please, just don't go that far back. Just don't go that far back. But for fans here in the chat, Uncle Steve's Lounge is here. You got to hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Uncle Steve, the positives and the negatives of this team so far through the first 4 games or so.
One of the things that I truly enjoy about what they did this year, as far as Terry was concerned, there was a concerted effort to get younger and more talented on the defensive side of the ball. And you see it with these young guys who have all contributed at one time or another, whether it be Walker, whether it be Pierce, whose jersey I finally got after ordering it on draft night. I just got this last Saturday. So don't ask. But Bowman and our defensive rookie of the month is Xavier Watts. So there is a concerted effort to get that side of the ball shored up. And with Jeff Ulbrich coming in, leading that charge, I'm really liking what I see on the defensive side. If you think about it, fellas, offenses usually take longer to get together than the defenses do. So while I'm looking at some of the 2 of the undefeated teams go down, I'm starting to see cracks in the armor in Buffalo. I saw a team yesterday that had been running roughshod the first 2 weeks. And when I'm looking, The Saints went up there. They went to Buffalo
Mhm.
and kind of hung with them for 3 quarters.
That's right.
New England, a team that, and I'm not trying to say we're better than New England, but I am saying it's not like New England is special. Drake May is probably of the same ilk, probably a lower level than Michael Penix Jr., but you saw what they did yesterday. And I'm looking at our team, and and the prospects going forward are, I think the sky's the limit. Here's the one caveat. I think psychologically you have to stay in the game. If you all go back and look at that loss to Tampa Bay, I think that was a good game. That's just a natural loss. 2 good teams played, and at the end, one team had to win, one team had to lose and cut their kicker.
Right.
If you look at the Carolina game and what happened in that game, I think we had the prime time at Minnesota. I think national people start chirping a little bit.
Mhm.
Michael Penix is looking good. Look at
Mhm.
that defense. Bijan's amazing. Stuff like that. And when I went to the Carolina game with the aforementioned background singer Low, and we had the
Wait, what?
opportunity to
Wait,
see
what?
that team, it actually
Hey, he throwing shots, bro. You might get in here.
Body
Get ready.
blow.
Get-
Body blow. Left.
Little Errol Spence to
get
the
ready.
body, a little Floyd Mayweather to the jaw. I see what's going on there, Steve.
Get ready. It's a lot more.
See where you there? You good?
I don't know. I think I lost y'all for a second. Y'all back? There you go.
Yeah. You kind of cut out. Go ahead.
So I think psychologically we were just out of that game. But you know what? I'd rather have that happen in game 3 than it happen in game 13.
Right.
So going forward, I'm really anxious to see the team psyche. Like we were talking about with our fandom, you can't get too high, you can't get too low. Every team in the NFL can win a game. Matter of fact, everybody's won one, right? Except the Jets. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Mhm.
That's
Okay.
correct.
So we're not in any position to overlook any team right now. So circling back to your question, Jack, I just think psychologically, I think we're in a good place. That's why I'm kind of glad Buffalo lost last week. They're going to come in fragile, struggle with the Saints, lost to New England. Maybe it's their time to come back to the pack as well.
Right. And Uncle Steve, there's some fans mentioning the Bills are walking into the Bens with a chip on their shoulder. We got to watch out for that. I think the Falcons have a big chip on their shoulder too, sitting at 2-2. So this is going to be a good game next week, Monday, Uncle Steve. So for fans that's like, oh man, you don't want Josh Allen to go off and go crazy on us. Now, I might have to bench Josh Allen next week. He is my starting fantasy quarterback. So, Justin Herbert.
You might want to bench him because the pass defense, and especially if AJ comes back, the Buffalo receivers love the little kid number 10.
Khalil Shakir.
But the Buffalo receivers are not exactly, world beaters. Right now, Josh Allen is just playing on a different level as far as quarterback is concerned, and you're making no names look good like Mr. Brady did for so many years. But if we're going into this game, if we're going into this game talking about the great Buffalo, the last 2 weeks have shown you, I just don't see it. I think you see a elite player at quarterback, but even last night, you can't do it by itself.
Right. And the Patriots were slowly, not really picking them apart, but staying in the game. And that's what you were saying. The Falcons next week have to stay in the game. Same like the Bucks Falcons game week 1. You got to stay in the game. That Carolina game was just lost from, honestly, the moment they ran out the tunnel. But next week, you have to make sure that if Josh Allen goes down the field and puts up 7, Michael Penix in the offense go down the field and put up 7 too as well. You can't let this game go to 16-3 and 24-3 and all this stuff, and they start running the scoreboard up and fans are leaving because it is a Monday night football game. The world will be watching again. And then shortly after that, Uncle Steve, you got San Francisco on Sunday Night Football, another strong team. Uncle Steve, this is giving us an opportunity to show if we're a playoff team because these are 2 good teams from the AFC. to the NFC right here. I mean, you got to play the Bills and then the 49ers.
I'm looking. I'm sorry. I'm kind of peeking at your chat there, and I'm looking at the rider of James Cook, and I'm trying to tell you. Did you see James Cook yesterday? James Cook was not a factor, and if you take James Cook out of the game, what is it about James Cook? They need to be worried about number 7 on our squad.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
I mean, listen. Yeah. Take James Cook out of the game, and you see what they had to resort to, and it kind of made them one-dimensional. I'm not saying James Cook can't run for 100 yards on us and do what he did, but I'm also saying, but this defense, more than not, a defense that hasn't given up 300 yards in a game yet, more than likely, I think his chances of getting a 100 are probably less than 50%. Now, if he does, do what he got to do and keep it rolling. But there is no fear in a James Cook.
Right. I think there's more fear for the Buffalo Bills fans. Like, man, they got Bijan Robinson. You better stop Bijan. And when he comes out the game, they got Tyler Algier. You better get him off the field too as well. So Bills fans who were arguing me last night on Twitter, y'all don't know what y'all prepare for. T-Will, please jump into this with Uncle Steve's comments, the ups and downs, the positives and the negatives of the Falcons through the first 4 weeks of the NFL season. And then, of course, just how strong is this offense to go up against a team like the Buffalo Bills? Because we saw last night, like the Patriots were chipping away, even going into the fourth quarter, 6 minutes left, 5 minutes left. They didn't give up, and they were playing in Buffalo. T-Will, your thoughts about that, my brother?
So last night's matchup kind of reminded me of a heavyweight fight in that in the first half, they were kind of feeling each other out. I'm going to do this. I'm going to counter here. I'm going to do this. And then in the second half, they kind of let it loose. But the one thing about the Bills that gives me encouragement is they're 31st against the run. Okay. We run the ball very well. So that is and I think that's why the Patriots were able to beat them ultimately, because the way to beat the Bills, just don't let them have the big play. Stay away from the big plays. And keep that offense off the field. Put them in a situation where you make them one-dimensional. If Falcons can get a 14, 17-point lead, now you can pin your ears back and come get them. But they are not the greatest against the run. So, this is not a popular opinion amongst probably NFL fans. This is a very winnable game for the Falcons. Look, it's at home, right? It's in October. It's not December and in Buffalo where it's -3 degrees, right? It could be so much worse if this game were in Buffalo. This really benefits the Falcons.
Which, I don't want to cut you off, but the last time we played in Buffalo around that type of temperature, we almost got them too as well with Matt Ryan.
Yeah.
We almost got.
Yeah, but as Brandy said, almost doesn't count. Look, we can win. I'm telling you, this is a winnable game. If we can come out and rush it for 175, this game's ours. Okay? Because running the ball, right? It keeps their offense off the field. And that's the thing. And I know Josh Allen is great. He is great. He is a quick strike artist. He is the king of improvisation right now, he and Pat Mahomes. But to Uncle Steve's point, he can only do so much, right? He can only do so much. So I am in favor of this matchup for the Falcons. If I had to pick it right now, I'm picking it as a victory. My brother's going to have a blast with this. But
for me too, he's the real Falcon fan. He's going to be in the seats.
Yeah. I see this game maybe, I'm going to say 29-17 Falcons.
A score prediction on a Monday, T-Will? This is what we were doing? You
Why not?
Wait till Wednesday show or Thursday show or Friday show?
I'll give you score predictions every day. It could evolve, but I at the end of the day, I think it's going to end up with the Falcons' victory, because I think this Falcons team is going to come out bananas. I think they are going to be because I'm sure they're so sick of hearing all week, well, the Bills are going to beat them, and the Bills and the Bills and the Bills and the Bills
all week.
And I think this team is going to come out And I think Mr. Penix and company are going to have a lot to say. And that defense is going to have a lot to say. I saw a stat today where the Falcons are number one in some category. I briefly saw it because Carrie shout out to Miss Carrie, the producer of any year, is always sending us 15 stories about the Falcons a day. And in one of them, I don't know if you saw it, Jack, but the Falcons are number one in defense in some category or another. But the point is, this defense gets after it. So just my thoughts. We got Big Low in the chat, by the way.
We'll see what Big Low got to say now. So we'll get to him in just a minute. He's going to be here Friday morning on Breakfast with One Time for the Fans. So
yes, he will.
You see Uncle Steve now. Is it still Southern Silk? Uncle Steve, was that the name of the group? Or what's going on? Or
yeah, before we go any further, I'd like an apology from T. Will for making a mistake and even mistaking me for Mr. Ronald.
I'm so sorry.
We want to bring Uncle Steve back, and we can't be doing that.
I'm so sorry. I apologize.
As I've told y'all on several occasions.
Ain't nobody coming to see you, Otis.
I don't see. If I'm going to be properly treated on this show, I would rather be the person driving the car than the valet driver.
I'm so sorry, Uncle Steve. I apologize. I'm so sorry.
T-Will, when he drove past us at training camp that day, you see what you're doing, T-Will? He gonna do it again. He gonna drive right past us again.
It's my fault.
That's those two podcast guys right there. There they go again. Right there. There they go. We don't want that.
There's that T-Will that couldn't get my name right. No, let's keep going. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Very super quick story. At this past, when we went to one of the camps this year, not the big one of the camps before, we went down to the fence, the fence line where the guys will come over and shout you out and do stuff like that. So I was down there with the aforementioned country, and it was cloudy, and 2 small teardrops of rain came and dropped on the head of Mr. Country. He's like, oh, boy, I got to go up to the front. I got to go up front. You seen Wizard of Oz. I melt. So I stayed down on the bottom while he and his glory and bouginess went up to the top cover while me and his buddy, stayed down and the little 2-minute rain came and left at that time. So I just want to.
That's a spot on Big Low impression, Uncle Steve. I just want to let you know that that's a great Big Low impression. It really is.
Oh my god!
Got to give you a prop.
Big Low.
Got to do it.
Big Low. Hey man, Friday morning it's on you, brother. Uncle Steve's time is tonight. Friday morning it's on you. I'm gonna let you know.
He gonna get me after this. So I know
you better come out swinging on Friday, Big Low, because we with Team Uncle Steve tonight. That's what we do.
Hey, that's what it is, Big Low. But love you, Big Low. Hey, Uncle Steve, settle this for us.
Talk to me.
Who's the lead singer of Southern Silk?
I mean, there is no lead singer. That's a singer, and then there are produced noises in the background. It's not a. I don't even understand the terminology. As a matter of fact, I've been talking to my lawyer, Shady Low, and I'm trying to get it to where it can be like Steve and whomever. And literally whomever.
Oh man, Uncle Steve, this is good catching up with you here on One Time for the Fan. T Will is having a blast, chat is having a blast, and I'm sure the jokes will be going back and forth here. I tweeted this out last night, Uncle Steve. I just want to get your take on it as we go into this next question here. Getting ready to wrap up the show. Just a couple minutes, Falcon fans. Quick podcast for tonight. Of course, we're back tomorrow night, Wednesday night, Thursday night, Friday night. We have podcasts all throughout the week, and I promise you, Uncle Steve will be back on One Time for the Fan. I think the check has cleared, so T-Will, we can go ahead and call his agent up and let him know we need him back again quickly.
I can't wait.
It's gonna be great. Man. It's gonna be great. Uncle Steve,
it's all good.
I tweeted last night. Jeff Ulbrich knows Josh Allen pretty well. I mean, he was with the Jets for the past couple of years. He's played up against Josh Allen in that same division. But you saw, and T-Will, you mentioned this, Josh Allen continues to extend the play when you think the play is over. And receivers get open down the field. And of course, he's moving around. He's like not like a Pat Mahomes, but of course, he's the guy like, you think the play is dead, but it's not. Josh Allen's still on his feet. He's running to the sideline, or he's running up the field, getting 5, 6, 7 yards. Receivers getting open. He's still getting passes off. When the play is like 8, 9, 10 seconds, other quarterbacks would have been sacked by then. So T. Will, and of course, Uncle Steve, I got to ask you, man, what do the Falcons have to do to beat the Bills next week? Of course, we got to put pressure on Josh Allen. I think the New England Patriots did a good job in the fourth quarter of putting pressure on Allen, but the game was still tight. So what do the Falcons have to do to come away with a big win, Uncle Steve, over the Buffalo Bills next week?
Stay disciplined in your gaps. Make sure that you're playing your position. Next week is not about hero ball. It's about playing a team concept. What we've had the most trouble with most of the quarterbacks this year, whether it was Baker, whether it was JJ, whether it was lowly Bryce Young, we've let them get out of that pocket and we've let them get at least 20-yard gains, each and every one of them. You have the best quarterback right now. I think it's arguably, but you have the best quarterback going right now. If you can control him, I think your odds of winning the game are better. So I say from a Jeff Ulbrich standpoint, keep preaching discipline, gap discipline, and make sure everyone I know I heard a couple of people, you got to have a spy. You got to have a spy. Yeah, in theory, that sounds great. But if everyone does what they're supposed to do, you might not need that spy. If you did, I would love to see Caden Ellis in that situation more than Jalen Walker. I know the veterans, to me, I think I have a little bit more trust in what he would do in those situations. Got to keep Divine out there on the tight ends because his coverage skills are great. But, just discipline, defensive gap discipline.
T. Will, you hearing what Uncle Steve is talking about over here with these Atlanta Falcons next week against the Buffalo Bills. Your thoughts on what the Falcons need to do, even with some of the mistakes that they made in the previous games? How can they fix those mistakes and go out there and beat a 4-1 team like the Buffalo Bills? T. Will, your thoughts on what the Falcons need to do to beat those Buffalo Bills?
I agree with everything Uncle Steve said. Defensively, you have to maintain your gap coverage because if you're in a man situation, a lot of your defensive backs have their backs turned to Josh Allen or to whoever the quarterback is. So it is paramount, right? It is crucial. It is integral to the defensive effort that you maintain gaps and look at, you close the loop on them. You close the pocket, you get them down. If you can't, you got to limit his escapability to 1 or 2 yards. You got to do that. But the other thing that you have to do is you have to play complementary football. So when the Falcons go on drives to score, look, if you can get a 90-yard bomb, that's great. But what would be optimal is a 7 or 8 minute drive and a touchdown. And if you can get 2 or 3 or even 4 of those, you really then swing the advantage your way, especially if you can get up by multiple scores, because now they're not just fighting against you, they're now fighting against the clock. And you now kind of make them one-dimensional. I think that is optimally the best way to win this game, right? I don't know that you necessarily want to get into a shootout with them. Now, with that being said, the Falcons have an arsenal. Falcons can compete with anybody, okay? I don't care who it is. Philadelphia, Kansas City.
Last year,
Buffalo,
Kansas City game, that referee pretty much robbed us of that game.
Correct. But this arsenal, and I believe that we are better this year. Make no mistake about it. I believe we are better this year than we were last year, resoundingly. Okay? Resoundingly. So this Falcon team can compete with anybody. But what favors us right now against this squad would be if you can run the ball for, say, 220 yards. If you can keep that offense off the field. If you can make them one-dimensional. To me, that's the best way you go about it, in my opinion.
Falcon fans, you got to hit that like, you got to hit that share, you got to hit that subscribe button, not only for One Time for the Fan or for my ATL Sports One. You got to hit that like, share, and subscribe for Uncle Steve's Lounge. Yes. Any first timers in here that haven't been to Uncle Steve's page, head on over to YouTube, check him out. Head on over to any social media you can find Uncle Steve's Lounge and check him out. Uncle Steve, we do have to wrap up this podcast here, but Friday morning we got Big Little Country Sports on for breakfast with One Time for the Fan. If you have 5 or 10 minutes, oh my god, oh my god,
Oh wow,
oh my god, I swear this is great.
Wow,
this is great. I guess we might not just extend the invite. No, I'm just
wow.
if you have 5 or 10 minutes of your day, Friday, and you want to just pop back in on breakfast with One Time for the Fan, I'll shoot you the invite, man. Come on over here and talk some Falcons with us. It starts around 9 a.m. We'll probably go to about 10:30 a little bit.
I would love
so the platform is open for you too, sir, to come on over and talk some Falcons football with us again. For the Falcon fans that did catch this podcast late, or if they're going to be listening and watching later on, and they want to ask Uncle Steve some questions, you still have the opportunity to. But like I said, Falcon fans, head over to Uncle Steve's Lounge page if you haven't heard of Uncle Steve, and hit the like, share, and subscribe button. You guys see him talk Falcons football, not only from the Bird Gang group too, as well, to where Uncle Steve Lounge is on YouTube, and of course Uncle Steve is usually row 1 at most of these games too, as well. If you guys, hey, wait a minute, isn't that the guy from the podcast? That's him. That's him.
Not only row 1, but the most exquisite row 1. Okay.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sometimes there's row 1 on the field too, as well. We haven't mentioned that. There's row 1 on
Uncle
the
Steve
field,
don't
and
play.
there's row 1 in the stands. We haven't mentioned that.
Hey, only the best for him. Okay, just saying. We were at the Falcons game, and there's this suite down there. And those of you who've been in the club, you know what it is. But they got couches in there and like a bidet.
Steve's name on it too, as well. If you look closely,
bidet,
you see the initials from Uncle Steve's Lounge on the pillows.
But I look over and I see Uncle Steve just chilling on the couch, and I'm like, whoa. Okay, we do it big in Uncle Steve's world. Okay, just saying.
Y'all mistaken me for country.
Yeah, right. No, and not that country doesn't get it in, because he gets it in too. But no, sir, that was Uncle Steve. Okay, and those of you who've been in the club down on that little terrace, you know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about that one with the couches, where they have
hold on, don't give away the location now. You're gonna have people really looking for Uncle Steve.
T-Will gonna have folks coming.
You giving away the car and the tag number and all this stuff. Hold on now.
Social security number and everything.
I turned state witness. I'm sorry, Uncle Steve. I turned state witness.
This is how you get into the area. This is how you get closer to making sure you sit next to Uncle Steve.
He
puts his drink in the right hand cup holder, not the left hand cup holder, the right hand cup holder. So
I got super excited. My bad. Sorry.
That's what it's about, man. We love talking Falcons football, and the chat is live, chat is lit, but we do have to wrap up the show. It's a quick show here for tonight. Tomorrow night, we're back talking Falcons. Wednesday night, we got Berto and Bro Talk, 95 North Falcons talk show in the building. Thursday, we got Damski in the building talking Falcons football. Friday, we have Big Low Country Sports in the building. Uncle Steve, man, opportunity to go ahead and give you shout outs here. I know you got a lot of people in the chat, family, your friends, people around you that, rock with Uncle Steve's Lounge, man. Platform is yours, sir.
Yeah, thank you very much. Again, I thank y'all for doing that. And again, thank you to everybody in the Uncle Steve's Lounge for popping in over here. It's a labor of love, folks. This Falcon fan base is really cool. And whether it's here in the Bends or on the road, it's real cool to hook up with a lot of the fans. And I just want to say to those fans who, again, we live and die the losses with y'all too. Trust me. But the players feel your energy. And I know the Carolina game made a lot of people, lose faith, and you had a lot of, we go to extremes. It was the worst thing ever. It wasn't the worst Falcon loss ever. It wasn't the worst in the world. But to know that they can turn that around so quickly and come up with a pretty solid effort against a playoff team from last year. And yeah, I know Jaden wasn't there, but nobody was saying that when Mariota was putting 41 up in Vegas.
There you go.
I tell people to hang with this team, man. It doesn't happen overnight, but I am saying, man, as much as I'm looking forward to this year, Mr. Fontenot set this team up for long-term success. And I think you're seeing some of those guys starting to realize, oh, we are pretty good. Now it's a matter of putting together as a team and going forward. So I encourage you all to keep supporting the Falcons. Keep they hear you, they talk to you. I real quick, Jack, and I know you got to go. When I had the honor and pleasure of being on that On the Rise thing from Minnesota, when they were taking pictures of the fans and they came up to me, and at the very end, there's a shot of Bijan coming over to dap me up at the end. And I'm telling y'all, I'm not even joking with y'all. It was after Mike Ford made the guy fumble the ball, and just unsolicited, because I was the only one yelling and screaming on the front row. Like, the guys turned around and Bijan walked over. I didn't say, "Hey, Bijan," like some of the, "Hey, Bijan." He just came over, and I was so excited. And you heard, that's what we do. That's what we do. They feel that energy. So bring that to the Benz, bring that on the road. I'm telling y'all, man, this team is gonna go some places. Thank you all again. I appreciate you all being on there. If you allow me the honor of being with your caddy on Friday, Jack, I will absolutely join the club and be there on Friday.
Hit that like, share, subscribe button for Uncle Steve's Lounge. T-Will.
Man, I cannot wait for this show on Friday morning. Guys in the chat, if you have not seen Uncle Steve and Big Lo together, that's the best thing on TV, man. Like, I remember the last time we were on their show, right, Jack? This is going back like maybe a year or so. We were on their show, and Carrie and I laughed. We laughed for like 2 hours. Like, pause. But our cheeks were sore. Cheeks on your face were sore for like cheeks on your face, Jack, were sore for like 3 days because we laughed so hard. So if Uncle Steve is going to be there with Big Lo on Friday, hey, count me in. Again, guys, if you've not seen Uncle Steve's show, as the young folks say, it's a vibe. Okay. Sunday afternoon, it's a vibe. You got to check it out. That's all I got to say. Uncle Steve, thank you so much for joining us, sir. We are eternally grateful. We are honored to have you.
Big shout out to Uncle Steve's Lounge. Falcon fans in the chat. We have a Jaguar fan in the chat too as well. So people probably looking like, who's this guy talking all this nonsense? That's a Jaguar fan. All right. And
Shouldn't he be watching the game?
Alabama's winning and Jaguars are winning right now. So, of course, he's back in the chat for some strange reason. He's back here now. He wasn't here last season. Didn't see him all last year.
No.
He's back in the chat.
No.
So, Falcon fans, hit that like, share, and subscribe button. I do have to make a run. And, we did talk to Uncle Steve about it too as well. So it's not like, we just pushing the time here. But Falcon fans, this is what it's all about when we bring fans to the channel, podcasters to the channel, content creators to the channel who know Falcons football, who can not only just talk Falcons football on the podcast, but off the podcast. And I guarantee you, if you see Uncle Steve at the store or at a game, if you see Uncle Steve at the store or at the game, row 1 most of the time, you want to find him in row 32. So
row 1.
If you can make it down to row 1, you might get a chance to say what's up to Uncle Steve. But
get to
the
them.
fans in the chat, Steve will be back. You already know we bring.
Tell my man, can't nobody hear Duval from London. That's where they play all their games. What are you talking about?
Something randomly in the chat here again. But Falcon fans, if you guys enjoyed the podcast, hit the like, share, and subscribe button for Uncle Steve's Lounge. Like, share, and subscribe button for My ATO Sports, One Time for the Fan. And of course, here at One Time for the Fan, Apple Podcasts, Amazon, Spotify, and everything else you can find us at. But I promise you all, we're back tomorrow night talking Falcons football. Got another special guest that's going to join us. And we're going to do the same thing we did tonight. Have a good time and talk Falcons the correct way. Uncle Steve, we can get you Friday morning now. We just a couple minutes, get you back in here, and we'll continue the roast of Big Low Country.
Absolutely. Tell Berto tomorrow Felipe Franks wants his autograph.
I love it.
Subscribe button, man.
I love it.
Out of here now. And of course, what do the Falcons say? Rise up.
Rise up. Rise up.
Hit this street.